Hello. Normally I put bloopers, if I have any, at the end of the show just for giggles, and now I'm going to put them at the front because you'll hear me refer to episode number 483 and going to schoolofpodcasting.com/483. It's episode number 484, and you'll want to go to schoolofpodcasting.com/484. So every time I say 483, you say 484. Let's put that into a little test. Ready? Episode 483. No, you missed your cue. When I say 483, you say 484. You ready? Okay, here we go. 483. Perfect. 484. Now, wave your arms in the air like you just don't care. All right, here comes the show. Today on episode number 483 of the School of Podcasting's morning announcements, which you can find at schoolofpodcasting.com/483, we've got a lot of tools that I'm going to tell you about today. One will let you record your podcasts live and mix everything in as well as integrate with Skype. Another one allows you to take your Blab.im videos and instantly put them on your website. I'm going to tell you about how cool Ray Edwards is, and I was going to help you write better text that will help grow your audience and get more Google traffic and get more results. I'm also going to tell you about a cool booking plugin if you'd like to ditch whether it's Appointlet or Calendly or Schedule Once. Great WordPress plugin for that. I've got a power rant and a quick interview with Hanah from PodClear, now Blab.im. Whew! Hit it, ladies!
The School of Podcasting with Dave Jackson.
Podcasting since 2005. I'm your very own personal podcast coach, Dave Jackson, thanking you so very, very, very much for tuning in. If you're new to the show, we talk about all things podcasting because here's the deal. I've been helping people understand technology for over 20 years. So what you come along, I help you massage your message. I help you tackle the technology. I help you face your fears and flatten the learning curve as we get you on the road to pain-free podcasting. Our website is schoolofpodcasting.com. Use the coupon code LISTENER, that's LISTENER, and launch your podcast at theschoolofpodcasting.com. I'm going to help you save money by not buying the wrong equipment, using the right tools, avoiding headaches. I don't know about you. I could use a little less headaches in my life. And so today I'm going to start off with a little bit of a power rant.
And now it's time for a power rant.
As podcasting gets hotter and hotter and hotter, more and more people are jumping in. And what's interesting, in many cases, the people that are jumping in don't even do their own podcast in a way. Like they really, I don't know, I don't want to bash people, but here's the thing. I hear this over and over and over. You need to launch with at least 3 episodes. And then somebody said, no, man, I'm going to launch with 5. Somebody else says, I'm going to launch with 30. And here's what I hear. And the one quote was, 1 subscriber, 8 episodes equals 8 downloads. Now, can I have your undivided attention for a second? I know it's just me and you. That's a lie. It's flat up a lie. Not a white, no, it's a lie. And I actually demonstrated this week on the Ask the Podcast Coach show. When somebody subscribes to your podcast, you get 1 download, and it's the last episode you put out. So let's say you launch with 8 episodes. You're going to get episode number 8. Well, episode 8 better be just like the best thing since sliced bread. It better be the best thing I've ever heard. And I can't wait to tell my friends because guess what? If I'm going to go get episode 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, I have to manually get it. So when somebody says, yeah, one subscriber equals 8 downloads, no. If, big asterisk here, if they like episode 8 and they go and download the whole back catalog, that's kind of driving me crazy. Because people make it sound like it's that easy. And of course, why do you want to do this? So you can, I don't even have to say the word anymore. Did you hear that? I just threw up in my mouth, just a little bit. Just thinking about it now. Because they want to get into new and noteworthy. And if you go over to Podcasters Roundtable, we just had a whole thing on this. On the whole new and noteworthy. Now, don't get me wrong. You will get more downloads in new and noteworthy, but it's like spending $5 to get 50 cents. So many people focus on this. And I got to quote my buddy Daniel J. Lewis. This is a great quote. Daniel said, new and noteworthy should not be your goal. It is a reward for creating good content. Man, that guy, every now and then, I was like, oh, I wish I'd said that. So Daniel J. Lewis, the audacity to podcast. If you go over to the podcast report, Paul Culligan, my buddy, put out an episode where he got into new and noteworthy. And you know how many downloads it got him? 32. Now, I don't want to sneeze because that's a classroom and a half of people. But people are talking about getting 35,000 downloads and 3,000 and 10,000 and 5,000, 32. So the best way to grow your audience in the time that you spend just obsessing over stats and checking your rankings in iTunes, a lot of times that's depressing. Because today I have a service that emails me my standings in iTunes. And the School of Podcasting is down a little bit. You know what? All I can do is do the best I can do. If you want to go subscribe to the show, that would help. But you know what? Don't get so hung up on this. When you create great content, here's the thing. Today, I'm going to tell you about some pretty cool tools. And some of these you're probably going to take action on, maybe. I hope so. Some of them you might tell another friend. We've got an interview with Hanah. That's information from Blab.im. That's information you can't get anyplace else. And I'm hoping you'll go tell other people who will then subscribe in iTunes or Overcast or whatever the heck you're using. And that will get me up the charts. That's the way it works organically without spamming the system. And what I heard on the feed, now that is a podcast from Libsyn. Now, Libsyn is libsyn.com. They're a media hosting company, a podcast media hosting company. You can get a free month at Libsyn, by the way, by using the coupon code SOP free. And Rob Walsh, who is the vice president of podcast relations, was explaining how he had either been via email or somehow was in contact with Apple. And Apple was saying, look, there are people out here who, again, are trying to cut in line. They're trying to get to the top the fast way, the cheap way. I want to cut in line. And when you game the system, when I was in high school, there's a teacher of mine that said a couple things that really got me on the right path. And one of them was, when all the years of stuff and people needing stuff and people wanting stuff, if there was a way to steal stuff and not get caught, don't you think someone would have found it by now? Most of the time, there's no big way to get, $1 million and not get caught. So if you thought there was a way that you can game the system, and right now you can, there are things you can do that absolutely will shoot you up the charts, but it's not going to last forever. And if you don't have the content to back up that ranking, back in early 2004, maybe early 2005, before iTunes, there was a website called Podcast Alley. And I forget his name, the butterfly marketing. No, anyway, there was a famous dude. He was in the movie The Secret. Right. Just think about 1 million downloads and you'll get it. And, he was in that movie. It's going to drive me nuts. And launched a podcast, went right up at the top of, Podcast Alley. And it was awful. And right next week, he was off the charts, completely off the charts. So take the time that you are spending trying to game the system and use that time to make great content, and you'll win in the long run.
Hello, everybody. My name's Adam Curry. This is the morning announcements. Enjoy it in the morning.
All right, got a couple quick product reviews I want to talk about. The first one, Spreaker Studio. This is for Windows and Mac. Now, you need a Spreaker account for this. But what's cool about this is in the past, they had this web-based one that used Flash, and this no longer needs Flash, which is great because Flash is kind of dead. It does one thing that I went, whoa, really? And I'm telling you, it's easy. You can connect more than one USB device. So the poor people that bought the blue snowballs, right? Or you have a USB device and you don't need a mixer with this. And it's insanely easy. The other thing it does, now this requires a little bit, you have to add another little piece of software. You can record Skype with this. Now, I don't know, because what it also allows you to do, because Spreaker originally was a live platform. It's a great live platform, by the way. And you can play, your theme music, you can play sound effects, and they have a bunch of buttons where you can assign sound effects. If you're a music podcast, you can have a playlist. If you're playing kind of like a DJ where you have two turntables and a microphone, and you can basically bring up one song while that one's playing, go load the other one, and then just fade from one song to the next. It's really pretty cool. And you also have a chat room there. So if you want to chat with your folks, so it's meant for streaming audio. It's not a video thing, streaming audio. And the thing I was really impressed with, especially when it came to integrating with Skype, was they have tons of documentation. It walks you through the whole thing. They have tutorials to walk you through the whole software. It's really pretty cool, but you can plug in up to 3 USB microphones. And it works like a mixer. You can adjust the volume of each person. It's really, really pretty cool. So I was very impressed with this. So if you're using Spreaker, now they've had apps for a long time. Now you can't plug multiple devices, obviously, into an iPad, but you can do Spreaker on your phone. You can do it on your iPad. And now you can do it on your Mac or your PC. I'm not sure. I'd have to double check. I'm not an Android guy, so I didn't check to see. But they're real thorough over there. I wouldn't be surprised if you could use Spreaker on an Android as well. But very, very cool. I downloaded it today. And when I heard Rob Greenlee over at the Spreaker live show say, yeah, you can plug multiple USB microphones into this, I went, whoa. And I really thought there'd be a lot more to it. And well, here is a little call that I made to Skype using Spreaker Studio. All right, so this is me playing with sound effects. This is the new Spreaker recorder. Here you go. Ladies and gentlemen, the Beatles. All right, and then it started to rain, and then it was time to go to school, and et cetera, et cetera. So this is recording me an Audio-Technica 2100, and you can have up to 4 USB microphones plugged in. That is cool. Let's go ahead and give Skype a call. And I have...
Hello, welcome to Skype call testing service.
I can adjust the volume of everybody.
Please record a message. Afterwards, your message will be played back to you.
Right. So this is me talking into the ATR 2100, and I can play sound effects with this. And what's this, giggle? It's a giggle. So this is me talking into the ATR 2100, and I can play sound effects with this. And what's this, giggle? It's a giggle.
If you are able to hear your own voice, then you have configured Skype correctly. If you hear this message, but not your own voice, then something is wrong with your audio recording settings. Please check your microphone and microphone settings or visit Skype.com for more help. Thank you for using the Skype call testing service. Goodbye.
All right, let's kick in some jams. All right, I can again adjust the volume of this. And if I turn that down, I can actually start another song over here and fade between the two. Wait, I got to turn this one up. There we go. Now I can fade into this song. Pretty cool. Really interesting. And I can still giggle. And I can adjust how loud that laughter is. And if I want to fade that out, I've got volume over everything. Welcome to the show. And it's free. That's pretty cool. So Spreaker is a media hosting company. Yes, they do allow you to do live, but if you don't want to go live, you don't have to. And if you want a free month at Spreaker, you can use the coupon code, you guessed it, SOP free, and that'll get you a free month over at Spreaker.com. The other little tool that I just bought today is I've been playing with Simple Podcast Press. This is, if you go to AskThePodcastCoach.com, you will see that underneath the player, there are buttons there to subscribe. There are buttons there to and forms to join my email list. There are buttons there to join the School of Podcasting. And that's all because of Simple Podcast Press. If you want to check that out, go to schoolofpodcasting.com/simplepodcastpress. And I'll have links to all this stuff out at schoolofpodcasting.com/483. Well, Hanah, for the record, is an awesome guy. I met him at Podcast Movement a couple years ago. He's been on this show, and he's great because he does what you should do with a podcast. If you can hear what your audience needs, right? Whatever the content is, give them that and they'll be happy. And so Hanah heard people saying, well, this is cool because Blab.im, if you're new to this whole discussion, is a tool that if you want to get into podcasting and you don't want to deal with RSS feeds, I just want to get my feet wet talking in front of people, go over to Blab.im. Go to bestpodcastinggear.com and buy the Audio-Technica 2100 microphone. It's a great microphone. Go over to Blab and get used to talking in front of people. And then when you're ready to turn that into a podcast, come see me at the School of Podcasting. Use the coupon code LISTENER. But Blab is this great platform, and Hanah just found an easy way to go over and basically tie your Blab account into your WordPress site. And it will automatically, if you want it to, bring your Blab and make a post on your website. I just did this. It was insanely easy. If you go to schoolofpodcasting.com/483, you can see a video of me installing the plugin and going through the whole thing. It's insanely easy. And Hanah's already heard where we've kind of said, well, that's cool. Is there any way later I can replace the Blab.im code that puts the Blab video with a YouTube? That would be kind of cool because it does more than just put the video. All the comments that are going on while you're doing your live Blab come along and they get added to your WordPress site. And depending on who you talk to, lots of comments on a post tend to flag Google that, wow, this is a really popular post. So on one hand, I'm talking about not gaming the system. And you're not really gaming. You're not lying. You had those comments. It was just on another website, and we're copying those comments over here. And you can, if you want, like when I did mine first, I said don't automatically import these. It went over, grabbed all my Blabs, put them in as drafts, and I went in and said, yep, this one, not that one, not that one. And then I could go in and, if I want to, delete just certain comments. So you have complete control over it, and Hanah's the kind of guy. This has only been out a week as I record this, and I'm sure there'll be great features coming in the future as more people go, hey, this is really cool. Do you know if it would do this? And he's the kind of guy that will put it together, but super nice guy. And he's the kind of guy that at this point, the reason I bought this, because I'm not a huge Blab person, but number one, I want to support Hanah. I mean, I bought Simple Podcast Press, but I knew it was going to work because, well, it's Hanah. And so I bought it, and it was $47. Now, that's a special deal. By the time I shouldn't have said that, because by the time you hear that, the price has gone up. There was a special price this week. And if you remember the School of Podcasting, you would have known that. Just a little FYI there. And he's just a great guy, wanted to support it, and this way I can talk about this tool with firsthand knowledge. So if you're a Blab kind of person and you're tired of copying and pasting code and things of that nature, you might want to check out, you can find it at simplelivepress.com. And there are going to be some cool features in the future where you can basically make a page where your live Blab will be there. It's going to be very, very cool. So Hanah's working hard over there. Check it out, simplelivepress.com.
This podcast is part of the Power of Podcasting Network. Find it at powerofpodcasting.com. Changing the world, one download at a time.
I am a Ray Edwards fan. This sounds a little weird, but to a certain extent, Ray Edwards is almost like my hero. He's just a guy that when I listen to him, he always makes a ton of sense. He's a guy that boldly stands up for his faith. His book, Writing Riches, is so good. This sounds weird. I haven't read it. Now, what do you mean by that? It's so good that every time I start to read this, I'm like, oh, wait, I need to sit down with a pen and paper and take notes. And so I think, because I originally had the book, and I think now I went back and bought the Kindle so I can take notes on my Kindle. It's that good. And one of my, like, definitely in the top 10 days of my life, I was at the New Media Expo. This is in 2014. And I go in to listen to Michael Hyatt, who I'm a huge fan of as well. If you haven't bought Michael's book, Platform, do so right now. I'll wait. Go ahead. Okay, you're back. Good. And I'm here to listen to Michael Hyatt, and I go to the front row, and there is the one and only Ray Edwards. And I get to sit next to Ray Edwards, which is cool. And we had a little, chit chat kind of thing. And it's weird because Ray Edwards, I don't know if you know this or not, Ray Edwards is so Ray Edwards. Like when you meet Ray Edwards, it's like you're talking to Ray Edwards. I know, it's weird. And then I asked Michael a question at the end of his session, and he mentioned that he listens to this show. And I came this close. If you could put your fingers up, like, yeah, that close to wetting my pants. It's true. So it just doesn't get that much better than that. And so what does this have to do with podcasting? Well, here's the deal. Ray is a master copywriter. So we talk a little bit about making money on this podcast. And I got to tell you, after reading the first chapter of Ray's book, when he came out with his copywriting course, and it was in beta, and they needed beta testers, I plunked down the money instantly, because as much as I would love to read Ray's book, videos, worksheets, cheat sheets, all sorts of fun stuff, I'm in. And I've watched about 4 of the, well, I shouldn't say that. I've gone through 4 modules. I think there's 8. And I'm here to tell you, it's really good stuff. Because what's cool about it, in one video, you actually watch Ray go through one of these worksheets, and you get to hear him think out loud, and you just realize just how sharp this guy is. Well, here's the thing why I tell you this. Ray Edwards is getting ready to launch now the copywriting course. And he's got about 3 or 4 videos now, by the time you watch this, with free content. Now, it's not entirely free. You got to give Ray your email. And you can always unsubscribe. But he's got cheat sheets and swipe sheets, and plus the content in the videos. And I'm telling you, bring a pen and paper. You're going to want to take notes. And there is an affiliate program for this. So there's 2 cool things here. Number 1, I get to spotlight one of my heroes. And that sounds weird, but just somebody who I find inspiring. And if you go to schoolofpodcasting.com/Ray Edwards, later, if you buy his course, I'll get a kind of a finder's fee. And, you win because you're going to get great content, and I win because I get to put gas in my car. So if you're interested in this, even if you don't buy, you just go over to schoolofpodcasting.com/Ray Edwards.
Yeah.
Lastly, in terms of little tools to play with here, if you're using Schedule Once, or I use Appointlet. I use Calendly back in the day, and for some reason it kept messing up my calendar. Now, I know a couple people who use that now, and it is free. But again, sometimes free, you kind of get what you pay for. And so I found this plugin called Bookly. And if you go to schoolofpodcasting.com/Bookly, it is a pretty cool plugin that basically it integrates with your Google Calendar. You pay for it once. It's like $46. But I pay, I think, $10 a month for Appointlet. I know Schedule Once is like $10 a month. And it's $46. And then I think you get 6 months worth of support. And so, you might have to upgrade every now and then. But in the end, I think you're going to save money with this. And here's the deal. You have control over everything. Number 1, it's geared to be mobile friendly. So things like you can control the color, you can control your services. So like for me, I have services right now. You can book a 15-minute coaching session, you can book a half-hour coaching session, or you can book a hour-long coaching session. You can also book me for an interview. So those are different services. And if you have multiple, now most of us don't, but if you have multiple people on the same team, you can integrate them into this. So your services, your staff, your payment options, whether it's PayPal or Stripe, You can easily put in your hours of operation. So for me, that's Monday, Thursday, and Saturday. You can put in holidays. It's really pretty sweet, and it's really intuitive when you get to the actual booking page. And you can actually copy and paste a code so that you can put this scheduling option anywhere, on any page, on any site. So I'm going to definitely look into this. I watched a bunch of tutorials. I watched I actually logged into the demo site, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to pull the trigger on this. But if you're a person that kind of cringes every time that schedule once bill goes through, or Appointlet, both good services, by the way. I have nothing bad to say about Appointlet, but this might be a way to get out of the monthly payment thing. If you're interested in this, check it out at schoolofpodcasting.com/bookly. And again, I'll have a video about this one out at schoolofpodcasting.com/483.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And we were talking about Blab earlier, and there was a great company, sad to say was, it's good and bad, called PodClear. This was a service that was going to allow you to basically do a podcast where your guest would record their podcast on their end, you would record yours on your end, and then it would kind of stitch them together in the cloud. Well, that technology got purchased by Blab.im, and with this interview, I interview Hanah, and we explain how a company like Blab.im that is free, how do they have any money to buy another company? We explain kind of what they might be doing with the two technologies in the future, a little bit of behind the scenes on how they're working through their beta test. And so without further ado, here's my interview with Hanah. All right, well, joining me via Skype, we were all excited about PodClear. We met them at Podcast Movement, and they sounded like they had some really cool stuff. I know I got a demo at Podcast Movement, and I was like, wow, this is going to be really, really cool. You guys were talking about having, I think it was up at the time, up to 9 people potentially at the same time. And we're like, wow, this will be great when it gets up and going. And then you guys went and got purchased by Blab. So on one hand, kudos for you guys. Yay. And we're all kind of wondering like, well, what does that mean? And I was like, you know what? We probably should ask somebody. So joining me is the one and only Hanah from PodClear. So Hanah, thanks for coming on the show.
Well, thanks for having me.
And let's start off. What is kind of your role with PodClear and now with Blab.im?
So in PodClear, there are only 3 of us. So the role is everything and anything that needs to be done at any hour of the day, which is a hefty role.
Sure.
Now that I'm part of Blab, I'm working with Brittany Metz, who's the other community manager. And it's kind of interesting here at Blab. So we all obviously take on roles, but it's their whole motto is it's a place where unemployable people come to be employed. And so we're all just like people who work really hard at whatever skill it is that we want to pursue, whatever idea we have. It's kind of cool. We have free reign to make that happen. There's obviously a lot of collaboration here. There is still structure, of course, but I feel really lucky to be part of a team where I can kind of take some ideas and run with them. So I'll be working closely with the community, planning events. I'm sure it'll yet to be seen how else I will be part of the team, but it's a great team so far to be part of.
So all of us now are wondering, some of us have speculated that Blab bought PodClear for the technology. Are they going to be integrating, the technology into Blab? Like do you understand? Like, I obviously there's going to be some things you can't talk about. Why did you guys get purchased? Let's go that route. We'll go the simple route.
So I think the big takeaway is, when a company merges with another company, buys another company, there are always a few different routes. Of course, there's, they're just buying simply. They're like, this technology is either a threat or something that we want to build that we don't have time to build yet, or that this team has already done and we want it. And this one, I think, was an interesting one in that there's definitely some of that. Like our technologies merged really well. We're both using WebRTC. And so the backgrounds there lined up really nicely, as well as our vision for what each of our platforms was doing to benefit podcasting, to benefit content creation. But I think even bigger than that, it was a mind meld, right? So it's the smart people here at Blab who have made an incredible platform already, built a huge community, and then our small team who is already well integrated into the podcasting realm, who are already incredible content creators. And I think they just saw a group of people who, there are 3 of us, and we were good problem solvers. We were moving pretty fast. And it just, I think to them, they're like, we want these people on our team, and the technology fits really well. And all in all, it's just an incredible match. So now that we're together, we have like a blend of technology, a blend of brains, a blend of vision. And I think that's great for both of us.
Do you happen to know when was Blab launched? Because I just found out about it a few months ago, and I kind of felt like I was early to the game, but I could be late. I'm not sure. Do you know when it actually started?
So it's still in beta. So you are still early to the game. Anyone who joins now is early to the game because it's still in beta. It's not even like a full product yet, I guess. There are so many more features to come. So it's been through a few iterations. It used to be, I don't know if you've heard of Bebo.
Mm-hmm.
So Bebo was a company started by Michael and Xochitl Birch, and they kind of, this famous story of them selling Bebo to AOL and then buying it back for a much lower price later, and then starting this lab, essentially idea lab called Monkey Inferno, which is where we're all working from. And Monkey Inferno kind of iterates on startup ideas and, builds traction and then kills it if it doesn't go anywhere and continues with it if it does. And Blab was one of those ideas that came out of Monkey Inferno. And so now that's their focus. They kind of put the whole team on Blab, and that was just a few months ago. So it's a fast-paced environment. It's like people just iterating on problems, making solutions. And so it's come a long way, but it actually hasn't been around for that long.
What other features can you talk about that you plan on implementing in the future?
So I don't know how much I'm at liberty to say. I might run my mouth and then I'll hear about it later.
Okay.
But I know that we're right now working on the replay experience as well. And that's partially where PodClear comes in. So right now it is an incredible live experience. It feels alive. People are giving props. You have interaction with the chat right away. You can have callers jump in. It's this very fluid kind of show that you can run. And then the idea is that the replay is also a watchable thing. So like live experience are generally you want to be there live, but the goal is to create content that's lasting, just like with podcasting. Like you're not just creating it for that moment, you're creating it so that it's evergreen, so that it's constantly lasting. So replay is something we're working on, the way that you interact with that through, chapters and annotations and that kind of thing. And also the live experience. So everything that we do in the live experience, we want to benefit the replay. And so I think that's really where podcasting fits into all of this, is that it's an incredible platform for live, but we're also creating lasting content. And that's important. The quality of that is important, both in sound and the way that you consume it. So those are some of the bigger things we're working on, embeds, all that kind of stuff.
One of the things that you see, like you wish more people knew about Blab, like, is there a common mistake that people are tripping over that you kind of wish, I wish they would quit doing this, or anything we can do to get the word out that when you use Blab, don't forget to blank or something like that?
I think it's a learning curve for everyone, just like any medium you use, you find your great way of doing it. Like there are people coming on and creating content and using the platform in a way that we weren't even like, oh, they're doing a really great job of that. We didn't even think about that is, people are coming up with all kinds of hacks around things that we haven't built yet that are coming. Something like they want to show something in one of the screens instead of having it be a person, and everyone's, like jerry rigging how they can get their screen to cast on this screen, and they can also, periscope at the same time. And like people already iterate on what's there based on what they want. And the community has been really amazing about telling us what exactly it is that they want, what would make their experience more incredible. And one of Blab's big things is that we're building in public. So we're listening to those requests. We're building things like all the things that you're probably thinking, oh, I wish it had this, this, and this, and this. Like we're working on all of those things. And that's really cool to be part of a team who listens to those things. I think the one takeaway that I wish people, or I can't wait until people are using Blab more for meetups, for webinars, for classes and how-tos and debates. Right now, we definitely see people coming on, and it's a great platform for also just hanging out and welcoming new friends, chatting with new people. That's an incredible use case. But I think it's really important to note that this is a really great platform for engaging and teaching and learning and, having important conversations about big things that are happening. I think it could be an incredible journalism platform, news platform. And so we're really just looking to get people who are already creating great content. So podcasters, of course, are a great example of this, how they can use Blab to further that content into the world, give it to a bigger audience. And that's really what we're going for.
Well, this is where I'm a weird person to think this. One of the things that makes me nervous about Blab is that it's free. Because I've seen so many great products come along that are free, and I know when I go to the grocery store, if I try to pay for things with like a smile, they usually don't take that. So do you know if we've even thought that far ahead of like, okay, well, this can't go on forever? You know, do we have a plan in the future as to how eventually we'll get, you know, some sort of plan to keep this floating? Because I'd hate to see it go away at this point.
Yeah, so it's definitely not going anywhere. This is, you know, Silicon Valley, place of obnoxious ideas, can run for free for years and years and years until they need to come up with monetization. So I think we're lucky in the sense that we have a pretty unlimited runway in that kind of realm. We have really great supporters. And I think right now we're really focused on just making the experience better for people, bringing more people, content creators here. And that will, I think, inevitably drive the ability to monetize it. It'll never be something where end users are paying for, no one's going to be paying to Blab. Like, it's a free platform. It's something just like Twitter. No one pays to use Twitter or Facebook, but there are ways to monetize things that are free for the end user. And I think that's definitely our goal.
Well, like you said, when they sold Bebo, it was it $850 million, something like that?
Yeah, $850 million.
Yeah, so that's, you know, that can sit in the bank account for a little while before it gets low. Awesome. Well, I just wanted to say thank you so much for coming on the show. Just wanted to get some insights into the juncture, and I know I love the platform. It is exciting to kind of watch it unfold. And for anybody who is using the platform and they have a suggestion, what's the best way to get that to your team?
You can just do support@blab.im. You can tweet to us, direct message us. My email is Hanah@blab.im. So I'm really open to especially content creators and people who want to start a debate, a conference, something that they want to do a continuous show on. I really want to work with people to create their show in their space on Blab. And, you know, I'm just talking to you now, like, I would love to see something like Podcasters Roundtable or like coaching sessions take place live on Blab. I think that kind of stuff is really incredible to have in public. You know, all of those shows that are happening through something like Google Hangouts. Like, I think this is a kind of a new and improved way to do shows like that. And you can take live callers. You can have live feedback. Any
plans on expanding it out past 4 people in the near future? Because that's the one sticky part for the Podcasters Roundtable. We have 3 hosts, and we usually have 1 or 2 kind of new roundtablers to the thing. And we ran out of seats when we do that with Blab.
Yeah, so right now we're sticking with 4. That's not number set in stone. There's, always possibilities. WebRTC definitely. So we're using PodClear with WebRTC, and like you said, we could have 8 or 9 people in there. Right now, it's going to be 4, and I don't see an immediate change to that, but it's definitely not set in stone. So
awesome. Well, Hanah, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It was lovely to talk to you again through the internet after meeting you in person at Podcast Movement. So.
Yeah. Thank you so much, and best of luck with everything over at Blab.
All right, have a great night.
There you go. Exciting things. It's going to be exciting to watch. I know every time I use Blab.im every Saturday when I do the Ask the Podcast Coach show. That is every Saturday, 10:30 Eastern Standard Time. So get up, make yourself some pancakes, and come talk podcasting. Just go to askthepodcastcoach.com/live. Really cool group of people over there, and always look forward to it. Do that with my buddy Jim Collison from theaverageguy.tv. And it's going to be fun to watch that kind of grow, much like Hanny's, Simple Live Press. That's going to grow along as well. So technology is being implemented to help podcasters, to help people engage their audience. So all these live tools are great, but in the end, it's the downloads later that really represent about 90% of your downloads anyway. And so it's going to be fun to watch this. But as we kind of wrap up Rocktober, a couple things I want to remind you. If you go over to Udemy and look for the Planning Your Podcast course, it is free till the end of October. Use the coupon code IPD15. That stands for International Podcast Day. A lot of people signing up for that, which is great. And then once you get done planning it and you're ready to start it, well, then come over to the School of Podcasting, use the coupon code LISTENER, and that'll save you some money off your first month. A couple other things I want you to start thinking about. I do this the last couple years, and I'm going to do it again this year. Starting in November, I'm going to be asking you, what is, if you could only pick one podcast, only one to listen to, not so much the episode, but the actual podcast, what would it be? Last year I asked things about going on a desert island, and people they took that way too literally. I just want to know right now, in November 2015, what's your favorite podcast? What's the one that puts the smile on your face, that you're really excited to see on your phone? And I'm going to start taking those answers in November. Now, here's the thing, and I'll talk more about this next week as well. Be sure to state your name, if you have a podcast, where I can find it. So it'd be like, this is Dave Jackson from the School of Podcasting. You can find it at schoolofpodcasting.com. And if you want to do a one sentence about what your show is, save me a little editing. And then my favorite podcast is blank. So start thinking about that. And what I do with these is I get them transcribed, so you will get some exposure, and I turn it into a book. And if you want to buy last year's book, you can do that. In fact, right now, if you go out to Amazon.com, now if you're going to do this, go out to supportthisshow.com and click on the Amazon banner. That's my Amazon link. The name of the book is My Favorite Podcast Is Understanding Audience Loyalty, and it's 99 cents. So, again, the book is called My Favorite Podcast Is, and you could be in this year's edition. So start thinking about that. And if you want to send it in now, you can. But I basically assemble them. I gather them in November. I assemble them and turn them into the book in December, and it will be the last episode of the year for me. It's always interesting to hear why people like a show. And so start thinking about that, and that'll be something we do towards the end of the year. So also just want to say thank you for listening to the show. I really do appreciate that. If you feel so moved, go out to schoolofpodcasting.com/iTunes, and that'll take you right to iTunes. You click on a button and then subscribe to the show. That helps us get found and helps boost the show. And the more people that listen, the more contacts I get to make, the more content I make, things of that nature. And that's always deeply appreciated. And the last piece of news, if you are a member of the School of Podcasting, check your email, check the Facebook group. On October 24th, we're having another office hours, which is basically just an open session where you can come and ask me whatever for an hour. So we do that once a month, or in this case, twice a month in October, because they're fun. So thanks so much for tuning in. Stay away from the Halloween candy. It goes right to your hips. And we will see you next week with another episode of the School of Podcasting's morning announcements. Take care and God bless. Class is dismissed.